Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Think About It 2.0. My name is Pastor Jake, and I certainly am grateful and thankful that you're with us tonight. And if you're on the way to joining us, that's exciting too. And those who are with us, we ask that you would put your name into the chat box because it's always nice to know who you are and where you're from. And if you're here for the first time, let us know if you're from our great state of Michigan or you're from somewhere else. We just thank God for each and every one of you, and we're excited about you joining us tonight. We're going to get right on into our discussion because we want to keep this thing per usual under 1 hour. I want to certainly encourage you to put your comments and your thoughts in the chat box. And we're going to talk about something that can be very annoying to God and very detrimental to us. And we're going to talk about even the crutch has to fit. Even the crutch has to fit. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight is the excuses that we make before God. And sometimes I wonder if we really put any thought into it. But we're going to talk about that tonight. But I also want you to share with me because I'm so excited. In 2 more days, on the 20th, 2 more days, we'll celebrate the first year of Think About It 2.0. And I'm just thanking the Lord for what he has allowed us to do in these 12 months. I'm thanking him for each and every one of you who have been supportive with prayer. And we're sharing on the program. So I ask that you'll continue to go to the channel. We have about 64 pre-recorded videos that might be a blessing to you. And I thank God for you sharing with me every Thursday night live. So once again, I want to welcome Love of the Life Ministry and Keith Cochran from Ohio, Sean Maurice from Tennessee, Shanita Perkins. God bless you, my child. I just thank God for each and every one of you. And I always say Love of the Life Ministry because it's such a great thing that God is doing in this women's ministry with my wife. And I thank God. But that's Leona Gangs. So when I say Love of the Life Ministry, you'll know who I'm talking about. Thank you, Gina Palmer, for joining us tonight. Okay, so even the crutch has to fit. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Let me kind of move out of the way. You know how we do this. Move out of the way. Even the crutch has to fit. And what do we use as crutches? What excuses do we use? Okay, God respects a legitimate excuse, but we have to be real careful. Are our excuses actually crutches? And if they are, even the crutch has to fit. One of the things that I'm finding out in the kingdom of God, and after almost 39 years of pastoring, you learn a lot, you see a lot. We endure a lot together, even in our own growth. You and me, so many people, we grew together in those 39 years. I saw babies grow to grown men, grown women with families of their own. We grew together and we learned a lot together. And so we have to take what we learn so that we can give God the best that we have to offer at all times. But we do use a lot of things as crutches, as support, as something to lean on. But man, something happened this year with me just a couple of months ago when I stepped in a gopher hole, cutting the lawn and tore a ligament in my knee. And it was painful. And yet we tried to keep on moving as best we could. Okay. But it was very interesting when I finally went to see the specialist. Something happened. We're going to talk about it real quickly, not at the moment, but very quickly, because I want you to see how important it is for us to recognize, okay, that we just can't use anything before God. We just can't just give him any off-the-wall reason for not doing the things we know he desires us to do. So we have to be careful of that. Love of the Life Ministry. The title made me think about, it's like when David tried to use Saul's armor. Excellent. Absolutely. Best armor made. It was for King Saul. But David said, I'll get killed in this. This doesn't fit me. Very good. All right. So we're going to look at a couple of things. And please put your comments in the chat because that inspires me. And then we get some, wonderful crossfire going because y'all know how this works. Iron sharpens iron. It's amazing how so many people, including Christians, think that whatever excuse we use as a crutch is viable, no matter what it is. We think that it stands tall before God just because we sincerely said it, just because we were sincere when we said it. It doesn't make it valid. Just because we said it with tears in our eyes, it doesn't always make it valid. The problem with that is we then choose any excuse that keeps us within our comfort zone and believe that it's acceptable. Well, we need to think again, y'all. And as people of God, God has sown too much into us for us to toss him bones, any kind of reason. Any kind of reason. Any kind of reason. I don't want to get my feelings hurt. I don't want to get exposed. I don't want to get this. I don't want to do that, Lord. I'm trying to do this. I got this on me and that on me and this. And that's true. We do have those things. As young people, how do they say it? Life keep lifing. All right? So, yes, but everybody's going through something. And if you're going to use an excuse as a crutch, then the crutch has to fit. We don't just get to throw anything at God and think it's valid because he shows us and teaches us in his word what is or is not. And we need to be cognizant of that. Okay? So we don't just want to throw anything at God. All right? And we're gonna look at some things that's gonna help us. Don't forget, tear that chat box up. Now I'm gonna share this personal experience. This was awesome. When I tore my ligament, of course you know how we do. We tried the home remedy thing, and we did the best we could with that. Alleviated some pain, so now we think we've been to medical school, and we just kept doctoring on it. And finally, Leona said, okay, you need to go see somebody. You tried everything, it's clear you're in a lot of pain. Come on, man. You need to go see somebody. You done did your little man up thing. Now you need to go and see somebody that know what they're doing. So I went to my specialist, and they took x-rays and all of that. He says, wow, Jake, what happened? I said, man, I stepped in a gopher hole. We've had a gopher problem all summer, and they digging these tunnels in our yard. And so they dug a deep hole. I didn't see it, man, because they cover them up. I'm like, what do they do? Come out and then pat it down so smooth. They know where it is, though. I didn't see it. Stepped in that thing, turned my knee so tough. A couple of days later, wasn't good. So I go to the specialist. They take the x-rays, and he does some maneuvering with the knee, and he said, yeah, this is going to be a problem for 4 or 5 weeks for you. And he said, I'm going to put you on a new set of crutches. And I said, no, I got the crutches I came in with. He says, no, those are old. We're going to put you on a new set. So he says, going down to the room, it was in the same building, down the hall, and he said, pick out a set of crutches. Now listen, no, he said, go in and get a set of crutches. That's what he said. Well, when I walk in, it's crutches everywhere. So I'm just going through them. I'm gonna pick me some. So I'm just picking. I said, oh, those are cool. I picked them up. And the young man said, sir, may I help you? I said, oh no, I'm just going to get this pair of crutches, and then I'll just come to you and pay for them. He says, no, that's not how that works. I said, I just want some crutches. I just want something to lean on. I just want something to stabilize me. He said, that's not how that works. He says, we've got to fit you for the crutches. What? I just want some crutches, dude. He said, no, we got to fit you for them. So he said, I need you to put those back, if you will. So I did. I'm like, I ain't just making a big thing out of this. Man, we went through all these measurements, your height, your weight, all of this. And so finally he said, okay. He said, come over here. These are the crutches. This is the category of crutches that you're going to have to be in. So he showed me a couple of shapes and da-da-da-da-da and what's your weight and all of that. And so we finally got some crutches, and he said, well, now I need you to walk around on them for 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm saying, come on, man, we making more out of this than necessary. Man, this man told me, he said, sir, this crutch has to fit. Even the crutch has to fit. And I went on and took it, didn't think much of it then. But man, several days later, I said to myself, wow. So any crutch won't do. It may be supportive. It may cause you less pain originally, but any crutch won't do. Any support won't do. Anything to lean on won't do. Even the crutch has to fit. That says so much to me, because we just simply throw platitudes and excuses at God like anything will do. And the truth of the matter is, if you're going to use things as a crutch, at least make it a crutch that is about your situation. Not just anything. That's really in depth about your situation, about what you're going through, and what will you get out of it. Do I just throw an excuse at God without realizing he may be working something miraculous through me? But I just simply want support now. And we'll use anything. So it was kind of interesting. I said to myself, I never would have thought that even the crutch has to fit. So here was the reason. Here's what was beautiful. So I said, come on, man. You really got to be this precise about the crutch I use. I just want something to lean on. We weren't even talking spiritually. This man said, you can't just lean on anything. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You can't just lean on anything. You can't just lean on any excuse. You can't just lean on any reason. He said this crutch has to fit for a number of reasons. Now watch, look at some of the things he told me. He said, by getting a crutch that fits, all right? And this is a couple of things he said. Other things I just researched online. It's information that's out there for you at any time. He said it prevents injury. Incorrectly fitted crutches can cause nerve damage and pressure sores in the sensitive armpit areas. I know this is the absolute truth because it happened to me 5 years ago when I had to have, I think it's 5-6 years ago, when I had to have the operation on my hip. He said incorrectly fitted crutches. Any incorrectly fitted support. And sometimes we look for support not only in the wrong places, but in the wrong people. They're ill-fitted. It's incorrect. And it may cause you some temporary relief. But in the long run, it's going to hurt you later. Wow. Louise Pulliam, Yolanda Washington Pompey, hello. And Love of the Life Ministry is saying hello to everybody. And good evening, Jean Holt. Love of the Life Ministry says, God's plan for me is tailor-made. I just have to learn to follow his plan. Tailor-made. Tailor-made fits you like a glove. But because we don't see the final analysis, it's very difficult. But what I want us to understand, any excuse won't do. Any support won't do. Just because it makes you feel better temporarily, that might be a detrimental crutch for you. So it ensures effective support. Crutches need to properly transfer weight from the injured leg to the hands and the arms, allowing you to put the correct amount of pressure on the injured limb as prescribed by your doctor. Now get this. You're trying to take weight off of him while you put some weight on it. And your crutches help distribute that in a way where you don't put too much on it, but you don't leave too much off of it to where your muscles atrophy. Even the crutch has to fit. And so many times we want to run to God with these excuses instead of running to God, finding out what I really need to do. Sometimes you just gotta be like Jacob. You gotta be willing to walk with a limp. It's gonna get better, but don't use any crutch. A properly fitted crutch reduces pain. A good fit helps prevent back, shoulder, and neck pain that can result from hunching or awkward posture while using ill-fitting crutches. Ill-fitting crutches. Ill-fitting crutches. Come on, talk to me. You ever had an ill-fitted crutch? You ever tried to use something or somebody as a crutch and found out and realized later that didn't fit? That didn't work. I quickly wanted any kind of support to mitigate my pain. But we have to realize even the crutch has to fit. So you don't want to just run to anything or anybody just because you need support. God has no problem with us getting human support. In fact, he recommends it. But just like I couldn't use any crutch, and it had to be 200 of them, he had to get some specific information about me to even get me in the right category so I could ultimately, or he could ultimately, fit me with the right crutch. Has anybody here in this podcast, have you ever fitted yourself with the wrong crutch? Have you ever sought relief with ill-fitted support? If you have, it would be such a blessing to share that, because the truth of the matter is all of us, none of us are perfect. All of us got issues. But it was such an awesome thing for me to realize that even the crutch has to fit. I don't have the prerogative to just say, God, anything will do. Because the truth of the matter is, you wind up causing yourself more injury. And so he told me, he said, with the injury you have, you don't get the right crutch. You'll begin to favor and shift your weight in ways that you'll mess up your other knee, mess up your hip. He says, I've seen people get ill-fitted crutches and in 6 months needed hip surgery. So even the crutch has to fit. Anybody here? Anybody ever had a situation where you tried to use the wrong crutch? If you have, share it with us. All right, it says when you have the right crutch, when you fit it with the right crutch, all right, it actually improves your stability. Crutches that are too long or too short can make it harder to maintain balance, increasing the risk of falls. I mean, just see, can you kind of see the analysis here? All right? The wrong crutches, the wrong support, the ill-fitted support can be a detriment. And you still find yourself off balance. You still realize things are not getting better here. But it's just good to have somebody to talk to. Well, maybe somebody to talk to ain't always that great. Maybe we need to be more selective, like the young man let me know. You can't pick any crutch, sir. Because even the crutch has to fit. Love of the Life Ministry. Yes, I tried finding relief in the club, people, and money. I found out later, I found out later that God knew of all my needs and could fit everyone. Wow. Sure we do. Yeah, we can use the wrong people as crutches, the wrong things, the wrong avenue. Okay, just wrong, and because it gives us some immediate relief, because that's what happened even before I got to the specialist, and I was in so much pain. Almost anything, whether it was a stick, a broom handle. Anything did bring me some relief because it took the weight off my pain. And anything I could grab, I grabbed it. But after so long, the owner said, you need to go see somebody. You got to go to somebody who knows what they're doing. And he let me know, you need a specific kind of support. So not only did I have to get the crutches, I had to get this brace fitted for me. It was cumbersome. I'm like, oh, this is not going to work. Man, I can't wear nothing but shorts with this. He fitted that. He measured. He said, now, here's the purpose of putting this around your knee. There's a purpose to this brace, and it had a particular purpose to accomplish a particular need. It wasn't just something to wrap around my leg. It had certain snaps in certain places to make sure that it stopped me from moving my knee a certain way. And what I want us to understand is when we seek God for the right crutches, those crutches have a meaning. I didn't like this cumbersome thing. I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't like the way it felt. But I wanted the relief. And sometimes God challenges us in our growth, in our prayer lives. And instead of seeking crutches in the wrong places or the wrong people or the wrong things, God says, let me put this spiritual brace on you. You're not going to like it. You're not going to like some of the things that you're going to have to go through. You're not going to like some of the things people might say. You're not going to like some of your journey. You're just not going to like it. But at the end of the day, man, that cumbersome brace, after about 2 weeks, I could feel this relief. I'm on these crutches, and everything looked out of whack. Crutches, brace, can't put no dress clothes on, shorts, Everything just looked out of whack. But let me tell you, some of your greatest healing is when everything looks out of whack. Gina Palmer says, wonderful lesson in crutchology. I am so enlightened how damage can be done with ill-fitting crutches. Yes. Isn't that amazing? It was amazing for me. I'm like, oh, Lord, I hear you. Okay. Sometimes when you look your worst is when your healing is at its best. But you got to have the right crutches. Even the crutch has to fit. Keith Cochran from Springfield, Ohio says, I experienced the same thing 15 years ago, to be fixed for crashes. Wow. Hey, put another little chat in there for us and explain a little of that for us. Shanithia Person says, relational, gotcha, yes. Sean Marie's Tennessee, thank you, sir. He says, good stuff. Okay, don't just go in the shop looking at anything. We need to be more selective, even about our crutches. More selective about our support system. Because even the crutch has to fit. So it was an absolute blessing for me. So look what it says. It promotes healing by taking appropriate pressure off the injured leg. Correctly fitted crutches help facilitate the healing process. By taking the appropriate pressure off the leg. Let me tell you something, man. When God comes in, steps in, and we follow his directions in terms of being fitted for the right crutches, it can take pressure off your soul that will make you shout. Take pressure off your mind. Take pressure off you psychologically. I didn't like the way I looked with the crutches and the braces. And still, I would still go and preach with the crutches. I would have the brace in the car, take it off when I get there, and then go in on the crutches, preach, go back home, and then look ugly again with all this stuff. But I had the right crutches. I was using the right things, and sometimes we just use blatant excuses that turn out to be ill-fitted crutches. Oh, they make you feel better for a minute. I heard a great quote, two of them I wanted to share with you. I left them on my computer. One was by Ben Franklin. He said, he that is good for making excuses is seldom good for anything else. Ouch. And the other one was by Jim Rohn. He said, if you really want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. And these excuses become our crutches. And we legitimize them because it made me feel better. I just couldn't deal with the fact that I just wouldn't do it. I was just procrastinating. I was just lazy. Whatever the reason was. It will make you move toward ill-fitted crutches. And even the crutch has to fit. The crutch, as was mentioned earlier by Love of the Life, needs to be tailor-made for you. Your help, your support should be tailor-made. Don't just pick any crutch out of the the crowd. That's what I was doing. I just want something to lean on. I just want something to take the weight off. And this young man said, no, you need a particular crutch. Sean, 38 from Tennessee says, we might not like it, but you'll thank the doctor. Ha! Same with God. We might not like where he's fitting us, but we'll praise him later. All right. That nails it right there. Absolutely. We don't always like what the support feels like. But in the end, we praising God for the healing. Man, life make you cry. Life makes you say things if you ain't careful. Life makes us mad. Life scares us. There's a lot of things going on. But every time you turn around, we're suffering some kind of injury, whether it's physical, psychological, emotional, spiritually, whatever the pain is real. The thing is, do we have enough of the fitted support in our spiritual closet? Do we have prayer on a regular basis? Do we have that fitted word of God? Do we have those wonderful fitted experiences that's made us a better and a stronger person, though we didn't like them then? Do we have them? Because they promote healing. And the wonderful thing about some of the things that we go through, this was interesting too, because the specialist told me, he said, listen, it's some exercises I want you to do to strengthen this knee so the next time you step in a hole, it won't be injured as much. It may not affect it at all. Listen now. Here's some exercises I want. So he said, because, at your age, Jake, 76, he said, you're in pretty good shape. He said, really kind of better shape than I am. He said, but at 76, anything can happen. So there are some things that you'll make sure you stay on top of. So that when things like this happen, maybe the injury won't be as great. Okay, I get it. Why don't we do that in our spiritual lives? Man, I'm telling you, if we do more praying and more listening to God, more stepping out on our faith, all right, providing more service, giving more of ourselves because we can't beat God-given, it would amaze you at some of the things you can endure when life hits you with that curve. Keep coming in that chat. You guys, I'm loving it. Okay, I'm trying to go down a little further. All right. All right, let's go to the next slide, because I want to make sure that, we at least understand we just don't get to take anything to God over and over and over again. All right, let's make sure that we got the right reasons, the right support, not just excuses. Remember, we always say excuses are just a lie wrapped in a reason. So we often use excuses that cause us extensive pain beyond the initial injury, simply because that crutch doesn't fit. So what sense does it make for me to go to a specialist, don't listen to him, and injure the knee to a point that it causes me more pain than the initial injury? When all I had to do was listen to somebody who knew what they were talking about. I wonder, does God know what he's talking about? Why not just listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about? We often use excuses that cause us extensive pain beyond the initial injury. And so, had that young man just allowed me to go on and do Jake's thing, get any crutch, because I know what I'm doing. I saw 200 crutches. I'm a fine one. No expertise, nothing. Praise be to God that this young man cared enough about a patient he didn't know to say, no, sir, you don't want to do that. You're going to cause yourself even more injury. Now, isn't that amazing? This is from a total stranger. So what will a true and living God that loves us unconditionally through the blood of his son, Jesus Christ, if a total stranger thought enough of his profession and a human being to say, sir, that's not what you want to do, what will the God we serve do that we know love us? And it would have been simply because he could have said, look, you know what? You just go on and do what you want to do because you're not listening to me. That's what the young man could have did. Because I was adamant. At first I told him, no, I'll find one. But he says, no. And he let me go on and pick it. I can't walk him. He said, that's not going to work. And then he began to ask me questions. This is from a total stranger. God ever said to you, that's not going to work? God ever let you just do your thing? And then said, I got the answer for you if you'll listen. I know Jake has been there. I've been there too many times. God had the answer, but I'm going to find my own crutch. Any crutch. Somebody else's crutch. Didn't matter. You can't use somebody else's reason simply because you heard him say it. And a lot of times people use the same reasons they heard somebody else say. It's just as convenient as it could be. I just don't have enough time in the day. Well, you're not going to get an hour more. And people jump all over that. Okay, we heard somebody say that's the way I learned it from. There's just not enough hours in the day. Well, you ain't going to get but 24. So do you simply use that as an ill-fitted crutch? Well, it's easier to say ain't enough hours in the day than to better manage the hours you got. An ill-fitted crutch. And even the crutch has to fit if you want healing. Love of Life Ministry. Even the donkey knew to not keep going. Okay. Wow. Come on, man. Anybody ever been there? Because I've been there. Just thought any crutch would do. Any excuse, as long as it's sincere, it's okay. God's okay with it. And he'll let you do it. Still show you grace, but he'll let you do it. And you'll mess around, and while you think you're healing the knee, you have hurt your hip. Now, here's the interesting part. The guy told me this. He said, now, here's where you have to be real careful. Not only are you going to injure another muscle in your body for the ill-fitted crutch, you're not going to help the one you got. So, oh my goodness. So not only am I not going to heal the injury I came in for, I'm going to exacerbate it to where now I'm going to create another one simply because I thought any crutch, any support, any reason will do. Just because that reason makes you feel better doesn't mean it's the right support. Even the crutch has to fit. Well, Tennessee says, but we do it all the time. Yeah, we do. But isn't it kind of interesting that we can stop that at any time and just get better? Not perfect. God ain't looking for no perfection. But we could get a little better at not thinking that everything is a perfect crutch. All right? Okay, let's just see what the Bible says about making these excuses, and we'll be winding down very shortly. What scriptures say, or what scripture says about making excuses or having that crutch? In Genesis 3:12 and 13, you read it. You probably know it, remember it. Adam blamed Eve, and Eve blamed the serpent. Had somebody else not done this to me, had I not been left behind, had I not been mistreated, had I not been hurt, had I not. Yes, the things that happen in our lives can be detrimental, and everything is not just. So what do we do? Do we just find any crutch? Do we just use any excuse and then lean on that? Or do we trust this true and living God that we talk about, sing about, run around the church about? And realize, wow, God still got us. But sometimes you need to be fitted with the right crutch. And we start doing things for the right reasons with the right support. And not become more injurious to ourselves simply because we don't want to listen to an expert on what our problem is. And that's what happens when Jake Gaines doesn't listen to God. I'm not listening. So what I'm really saying is, I'll find another crutch to lean on. I'll find another crutch. And so is that what we want to do, man? Come on, talk to me. Talk to me. Because the truth of the matter is, y'all, we learn from each other. We learn, and so there are so many things people don't like to share. But when you don't share, then that's an experience somebody else doesn't get to see or hear. Nobody's asking anybody to tell your entire personal life. But we've all been there in some ways. I know I have. Gina Palmer says, I've tried my own way so many times and made situations worse. So who do I go running to for deliverance? God. Should have consulted him first. Ain't it the truth? Ain't it what we do? And we know to consult him. We know to do it. But we be in a hurry, just like I was at that doctor's office. I'm just going to find me some crutches. I just need some support. I just need something to lean on. And that man said, no, we need to take out, I was there another hour getting a pair of crutches and a brace. I had already been there with an hour with the doctor, with the x-rays and all of that. I intended to go into that crutch place and the brace place, and I'll be out in 15 minutes. And the expert said, the therapist said, no, you take your time because this is important. Man, how many times has God whispered in my ear, take your time? You don't know how important this really is. Don't settle for just any support. All right? Ruth White says, God don't want no excuses for our behavior. I think that's what it is. I can't see all of it. And he doesn't. And the beauty of it is that he'll give us options, wonderful options to use. But a lot of people just don't get it. Even the crutches. The crutch has to fit. Don't just use a reason that you got from somebody else. That's my concern with it. Don't just take some cookie cutter excuse or reason that you heard from your parents, your sister, your brother. Don't just use any cookie cutter crutch. Because if we can come up with excuses, man, it make us feel so much better. Oh, Lord, you know. And this is one of the best, that's been misused forever. You know my heart. Yeah, and you know what he says about the heart? He says it's wicked. That's what the Bible says. All right? So don't just use any crutch. Even the crutch has to fit. And that moves toward your healing. Okay? So maybe it's not that friend you want to lean on. Maybe it's prayer. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe you need some time to yourself. Maybe you need to get out from under all of that stress that you're consistently under. Maybe you need to take a step back. Take 2 or 3 days off your job. Why die with 1,000 hours of sick time? Even the crutch has to fit. Okay? Cynthia Perkins, I had to learn how to walk with my own crutches. I was putting the wrong foot forward. I had to learn how to walk with my own crutches. Okay. It's funny because you went right up an alley that I learned back when I had my hip. I just thought you use crutches, you swing your bad leg. You swing your bad leg. Man, say no, it's not just that simple. There's a rhythm you have to develop. And it takes you time. Everybody don't walk on crutches the same way. And he told me that. And for you to say, I had to learn how to walk with my crutch, that's true. You don't just get crutches and walk perfectly good. You can get crutches and trip on them and fall flat on your face. Almost happened to me twice when I was learning how to do it. All right? So you just can't always use somebody else's crutch, somebody else's reason, somebody else's excuse, somebody else's story. You can learn from it, but God is going to make you write your own story. Look in Exodus 4. Moses was told to go to Egypt and order Pharaoh to let God's people go. Moses made excuses that he was not an eloquent enough speaker. God let him know. I already factored that in. I already took care of that. That's why you're going to have a speaker. All right? So don't try to use the fact that you ain't an eloquent speaker, that's a legitimate reason you're trying to walk with somebody else's crutches. Even the crutch has to fit. All right. Let me go back. Somebody else said something. Junior Palmer, lay off the cookie cut. Stop. Ruth White, even with the cane you do. Yeah. You have to walk, learn how to walk. Yes. Because the injured, I learned that the injured leg, if I'm not mistaken, because I was right-handed, the injured leg was going with the cane to take weight off of it. But they ultimately showed me how to do it. I thought they said, oh, that's not going to help you at all. So it was a crutch, but I didn't know how to do it. I need to learn how to do it. And learning how to do it, learning how to get it right is fitting it. So I had to be measured. I even had to be measured for a cane. That was interesting too. And then you could adjust the bottom up and down. Ill-fitted is dangerous. Whether it's a friend, a relationship, trials, we can seek support in the wrong places at the wrong time with the wrong people, and it's ill-fitted. And look around, and a year later, we're in more pain than we were with the initial injury. So instead of excuses, God expects us to step out on whatever faith we claim to have and depend on Him. Quit measuring your faith. Oh, I need more faith. I need more faith. Well, how much more do you need? That's funny. You don't even know how much you got. I've always wondered, how do people measure how much faith they have? You need more faith. Okay, what do I need more? A cup full? Another gallon? Another liter? Another spoonful? Another what? Maybe I just need to step out on the faith I have. It's about the quality of my step. Maybe I need to just simply step out on what I already have. And then you continue to step out on what you already have. And as that quality grows and grows and grows, no matter what happens, you step out on it because of the quality of your faith. Because I don't know how you measure it. Never have in almost 39 years. How do you measure it? And certainly when Jesus Christ talked about an instance, oh, ye of little faith, it was in light of what somebody did not do, did not step out on. So it's clear that your faith is minimized because you're not stepping out on whatever you have. Ruth White says, God knows what you can and cannot do. Yes, he does. All right. But see, the important thing is we need to start recognizing what we can and cannot do. You got it. You got it. God knows. But we need to know. We need to know. Bernadette Vassar. I almost fell a few times when I had a boot on my foot for a fractured ankle. Yes. Yes. And yet you needed that boot. You had the right crutch. You had the right support, and still it was a struggle. See, a lot of times y'all think, well, I'm trying to do everything God is telling me to do, so there shouldn't be any trouble in my life. That's not biblical. Trouble will always be lurking. You could end one issue and another one slapping you in the face. Oh, Lord, where's any relief? Well, evidently none yet. Well, praise be to God, man. I got the fitted crutches. I know to pray. I know to seek the Lord. I know to seek his counsel. I know to read that word. I know that I should be in the presence of other saints. I know I need to serve others when I'm hurting. I got to get the right crutches because even the crutch has to fit. So we step out on whatever faith you got, whatever measure that is, because can't nobody else tell what it is. I tell your faith by your actions. That's how you know you got a quality of faith. That's how you know growth is occurring. How much you got, I don't know. I've never been able to measure that. But I know it's active. It's active because I'm constantly stepping out on it. All right, the last thing, we use other people's excuses that do not fit our circumstances. You have to look at how good God has been to you. Somebody else's crutch simply does not fit. All I'm asking is that you give this some thought. I hope you'll come back and look over this podcast again. Look at some of this stuff and think about it. Because the truth of the matter is, man, God is so good. All right? But don't just go look for any crutch. Don't do it. All right? Don't do it. Pray. Seek God. Because even the crutch has to fit. And sometimes, man, you have to put on those braces or that brace and it hurts. You be like, man, Lord, I'm seeking comfort and this thing hurts. And the Lord has said, I know you want comfort, but I want you to have healing. And comfort is not always comfortable. Love of the Life Ministry says, I had to learn to stop looking at what everyone else was doing just because it worked in their situation. Didn't mean it was good to work for me. That's right. Even though it may have been a good idea. That's absolutely right. Jake Gaines says, good stuff, my boy. Love you, man. Love you back. That's my son in Wisconsin. God bless you. Gina Palmer, Leona, amen. Ruth White. I lean on God's crutches as he leads me on the straight and narrow road. God is so loving. Yes, he is. So please don't look for just anything. Once again, I'm asking that you will stay on the channel sometime and leave some comments. Come back and look at some of the pre-recorded tapes. Pray for me. One year come Thursday. Come Saturday, and I'm excited about that. I'm thanking God for the growth that he's given. I thank you for your support. Please tell somebody about the channel. If you haven't subscribed, do that. Also hit that notification bell so when a new tape comes out, you'll be notified of it. And we're going to keep this thing under that hour because y'all been so gracious to keep coming, and I thank God for you. So God bless you. Thank you, Shanithia Perkins. God bless you, dear. I'm praying for that situation that you talked to me about. God got it. And you can let some other people know. Even the crutch has to fit. God loves you. I know that. I pray you love him back and respect people. God bless everybody. Thank you so much for your support.